Okay, so I wonder about the wisdom of extreme sanctions as the Treaty of Versailles so completely impoverished Germany post World War I that it was easy for Hitler to foment hatred and Nazism as a solution. Will our punishing motivation boomerang in us at some point? In other words, the sanctions that are being put on Russia and the oligarchs, are they going to boomerang because it'll make the situation so terrible in Russia that then Putin may come on stronger and so on. Um, I have no idea what the future is going to bring. Okay, His Holiness says you will know the future when it happens. That seems quite wise to me. Okay, let me just read the second question here because it influences this first question. Is it any different if the sanctions are preventative and intend to prevent further invasion versus exact revenge for a past war? Is that prevention aversion? I don't know what that means. Okay, so in the Treaty of Versailles, the terms that were put in it were the design was to punish. Okay, and it was at the conclusion of the war. So the war was over, and then they were going to divide things up, and they wanted to really punish Germany so that Germany didn't come up as a world power again. Okay. What's happening now, the sanctions? Yeah, the war is in process. The war just begun. The war is in process. And I think these sanctions are designed to stop the war, not to punish. Well, some people may want to punish Russia, but as I understand it, the sanctions are to uh, inflict enough pain that Putin will stop the war. And when the war is stopped, then the sanctions will be removed. So they're not designed to punish Russia over a long period of time. The purpose is to stop the war. Okay. Now, as to people's motivations, I bet for every single individual that was involved in stamping the stamp of approval on these sanctions, they probably, some people saw it as to stop the war. Some people were angry, they want to inflict punishment on Putin. Some people angry want to inflict punishment on somebody else. There's going to be lots of different motivations going on there. Okay. It does concern me, though, that, um, you know, if you make it to, the thing is that Putin is backed into a corner. And when somebody's backed into a corner and they don't see a way out, then they tend to say, I have nothing to lose and I've got to win this at all costs. Otherwise, my place in history is going to be trashed. My whole reputation as a leader of this country is going to be trashed. So I have nothing to lose. And if I toss a small nuclear bomb into the battlefield, not a big one, not like what the Americans did, okay, and with the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but just a small one that, that might get it across to these people in Europe that, I'm determined here, and that will make them stop. It'll make the Ukrainians stop the war. Who knows what will go on in Putin's mind? Yeah, we talked to one of our friends in Russia today. What's very interesting is that he, I don't know how he has the channels, but he's hearing the same news we are. Whereas in general, the Russian people are only hearing the Russian state news. They've shut down all the other news agencies. Yeah, so they're getting the thing of the war is going exactly on schedule, exactly as we want. Very few casualties. it's going to be over soon, and the West started it because they've been having a genocide in eastern um, Ukraine, and they're trying to upset the balance of power and da 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 da. So that's what they're hearing. And our friend was saying, yeah, most people, they kind of believe that, you know. Um, it's kind of like when you have a very strong leader, who projects this image. I mean, because you know how Putin is. Actually, he's quite a small guy. He's not a big guy, but he's always on a horse with a bare chest, and big muscles riding his horse. Yeah. So you project that image, and it's like Trump. He projects this image of, look how big I am wearing a suit. I look big and tough, and So then people, they kind of, respect that because somebody's projected that kind of image, and then that's their image of the person. They want somebody who's a strong leader, and any contrary information they don't believe. Because sometimes when you've made up your mind about something, you're not going to believe anything else. Okay, I'll try and go quickly now, so at least we can. So if I have given everything away, I no longer have to worry about losing or defending anything. Is it all an illusion of separateness anyway, isn't it? Am I defending a self that doesn't really exist? Yes, we are defending a self that does not exist, that does not, the self that we are defending does not exist. That does not mean that the self does not exist. The self exists, but not in the way that we think it exists. Okay? So is it all an illusion of separateness? Does that mean that it's all one? No, not everything is not all one. Okay. Your bank account is not my bank account, and my bank account you can have there's not much in it. Okay. But no, we're not all one. Okay. How do we defend self without attachment to self? Get rid of the attachment to self. Okay. Um, decrease the self-centered mind. Yeah, decrease that self-centered mind and the attachment to self as much as you can, uh, and then you can defend the self without attachment to self. If someone is attacking you and you realize you have anger in your mind, would it be better karmically to not fight back or flee rather than to fight with a mind motivated by anger and malice? Okay, my take on this, if somebody is attacking me, I don't care what motivation is in my mind. I think the best option is to flee. Yeah. Now, uh, this may be somebody who thinks, it's clearly somebody who thinks differently, that, oh, I can have a good motivation and defend myself, and then maybe that protects that person from harming somebody else or whatever. Yeah. So if you don't have anger in your mind, sure. Or, uh, you know, I would say my philosophy is the first choice is to flee. If you can't flee, then, try and not have anger. And if you have to, if you can say something that would completely distract the person and throw them off, do that. And if that doesn't work, and the only thing you have left, and they're going to severely harm you, is physical force, then use as little physical force as needed to uh, to impede their being able to harm you. So it doesn't mean you have to kill somebody. Yeah? You just have to something to get them to stop what they're doing.